to open the season with a bang like that. How special was that win over Texas?
It was so special. I mean, obviously it's the beginning of the year, so we're just super excited for what's to come, and that kind of just showed who Minnesota volleyball really is, and it kind of opened that spark of like, wow, we're back. And obviously it's going to be a memory that we're going to remember forever, especially for me just being back in my home state. It's crazy to even think about still to this day, but we still have a long way ahead of us, and we're looking to prove even more.
Was it some validation, though, that this team is better than last year's team? I mean, just to open up the season with something?
100%. I mean, the day before that we played Texas, we were sitting in a film room with Keegan, and he was just telling us, like, reminding us of how good we really are. And I mean, like he was saying, like, maybe we haven't won enough to kind of like feel that validation, but like he said, I think we go into a lot of matches thinking of who's across the net and not really Minnesota volleyball, and like we need to remember who we are and how good we are as athletes and kind of just put that out on the court. And I think we remember that Minnesota volleyball is truly like an incredible program, and I think we just needed to remember that we're Minnesota, and we can't really like think about who's on the other side of the net all the time and just kind of like, oh my gosh, it's Texas, like they're number one in the country, but we also have to think about how good we are ourselves, and I think that really helped us get that win.
Mckenna, how were you able to sum it up, the whole experience, and how quickly were you able to see family and like maybe look up in the crowd after the win?
Yeah, it was super cool. I mean, I think I was just looking all over the arena, hearing Mckenna, Mckenna, and there was like my family in one section, I had friends from high school in another section, so I was kind of just looking around, like really just admiring where I was and who I was with, and it's an incredible experience I'll remember forever. And also just, I remember coming out of the locker room after we won and seeing everyone waiting for me was just an incredible memory that I'll remember forever.
Was there a turning point in the match where you felt like we can really do this against Texas?
Honestly, after that first set, even though we lost the first set, I was really just like, wow, we're in this, and like we've totally got it. And also just watching them play Wisconsin the day before, like I really just saw ourselves being in it in every single match. I mean, we played Stanford right up to the end, and I totally think we should have got that match. But honestly, like I just think so highly of who I'm surrounded by on our team, and everyone's just complete studs. So I consider myself and I consider our team to be in every single match that we're being put on the floor. And I think a lot of other people counted us out, and we kind of just went out there and thought, like, why can't we do this, you know? So I was just super excited for us.
How much confidence does it bring you when Julia's playing at the level she is to start the season?
Yeah, Julie's a stud. I mean, I've loved going to battle with her ever since I came to Minnesota as freshmen. We were roommates, and obviously I knew that her time was coming. And I'm super excited for all that she's done, and she has so much more to prove, and she's right where she belongs, and I'm super excited for what's to come for her.
How do you not get overconfident and get refocused? We're still really early in the season.
100%. I mean, we've just talked about it. It's like we need to come into practice today 100% locked and ready for this weekend. I mean, TCU and Baylor are incredible opponents, and they're going to give it all they got. I mean, we just beat Texas. Everyone's going to want to beat us now, and I think the first step is coming into practice today and being super focused and getting our minds right for the opponents coming up and watching lots of film on them and getting ready and just obviously celebrating the win, but also moving on from it very quickly.
Do you guys feel like you have an underdog mentality? 'Cause, I mean, I don't remember the last time you guys were ranked that way in the preseason and even fifth in the Big Ten, and you guys have championship aspirations.
Yeah, right from the start. I mean, when I was at Media Days with Lydia and Keegan, we kind of just told everyone that we are the underdogs and everyone's going to count us out, but we know that we're in it every single match and we have the talent to go so far. And I think that Texas match really just showed everyone who Minnesota volleyball is and that we're back and we're in this new era, and we're super excited to go super far. And that third weekend in December is our goal, so hopefully we'll be there. I know we can be.
Anything else for Mckenna?
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Melani, to open the season that way, I mean, to go 5 with Stanford and obviously to knock off Texas, I mean, just to come out of the gate like that, what does it say? Did you expect that? What does it say about this group?
I don't want to say I didn't expect it. We have a really good group. I think we have a really good team this year. As I think I talked to you guys before we ever played any games. Team is a really big thing for us. So we definitely knew we could do it. I think Stanford, we had a little bit of a blip with 23 serving errors, or else I think it would have been a little bit of a different outcome because we had really good hitting numbers, blocking numbers. Defense was good, but I think we knew we could do it. It was just a matter of fact of like proving to ourselves we actually could like continue it for if we had to go 5 sets, the whole 5 sets, and actually finish how we wanted to instead of how it went with Stanford. And then Texas, after the 4th set, we were kind of like, this isn't going to happen again. And we like kind of locked back into we can do this, like we're supposed to be here or else we wouldn't be here.
Melanie, take us back to the locker room atmosphere. The last time you guys celebrated like that, and how fun was it?
I just like the interview after the game. I have no words. I think all of us were we bust home after Monday night, and we were just all like, we can't go to bed. We were all laughing. I was talking to my parents on the phone, and I was like, I just feel like this is, I want to say it felt like a dream, but at the same time I knew we could do it. So it's kind of it's a weird feeling, but it was super cool. And I'm really happy it happened at the beginning of the season so that we kind of know like what we're capable of, and like we have a different kind of standard. We had a high standard before, but now we proved to ourselves we can actually uphold the standard that we want for our team.
How do you avoid overconfidence?
Yeah, I think after the Stanford game, I was a little worried because we still had like really good numbers. The only thing that went wrong, obviously, like I said, was the serving. So just taking it one team at a time. I said before we played Texas, like this is a completely different game. Yesterday doesn't matter. Yesterday's never gonna come back around. Like we're never gonna see that day again. So making sure we're locked in on like the scouting report for the new team. And I mean, anything can happen in NCAA volleyball at this point. So I think just being able to like actually focus on the task at hand. Like we can't walk in places being like we beat Texas, where every team's just gonna be like, oh yeah, like woo. But I don't think we're like that at all. So I think we have pretty good mindsets on the team for that kind of stuff, to be able to refocus for who we're actually playing and focus on the task at hand for that night.
You came back for those moments, but where does that win rank for you in your career?
Oh gosh, I just talked to you about this. I think the Wisconsin win a couple years ago here is still pretty big just because it's Wisconsin. But it's probably like my one or two. It's probably tied with the Wisconsin win because although Texas isn't like our border battle, it was like it's Texas, and I don't think I've beaten them since I haven't beaten them since I've been here. So it was really cool, and to get to do it in that big of a gym, like in that arena with the people on this team, it was just a special moment. So it's probably tied with the Wisconsin win from a couple years ago. So
What makes this team different than last year, as opposed to a little bit of a dip from last season, starting highly ranked and then going a little bit down? But what makes this team different than last year?
I think we have a lot of different personalities. For one, we have a bigger team. I think it helps to have like a bigger mixture of younger people with older people, and then we have a good group of like middle people that we all hang out, and we're all super easygoing. We get along very well off the court, and we have big personalities, and then we have people that kind of mellow those people out. So I think honestly all the personalities kind of match up well. I don't know if we were expecting that. Sometimes you just get lucky when teams end up working out like that. And then one thing I will say is we have a lot of depth too. Like I gotta like shout out. I think it took the whole entire team on when we played Stanford and when we played Texas to get. I mean, we played well against Stanford. We had good numbers to get that done, and then it took the whole entire team to beat Texas too. So, yeah.
Anything else from Melani?
Just Baylor and TCU going on the road again. You probably can't wait to come back and play here, but you have to play on the road again. So.
Yeah, I'm excited. We play them every year, and they're really good teams, so it'll be a good matchup. I know TCU played really well against Nebraska. I haven't heard anything about Baylor just because I haven't been keeping up with it, because I don't know if they've played a Big Ten team yet. So, but they're historically a really, really good program. So is TCU. It'll be fun. I've never been to Waco either, so I think it'll be a good trip for the team. But yeah, just like I said earlier, it's going to be about focusing on the scouting report that night and worrying what we need to do offensively, defensively against the people we're playing. It's like we got to let go of what happened. We can keep it in our minds because it was really fun and exciting, but we got to let go of it at the same time in a good way to be able to keep trying to perform like that every night in and out. So, yeah. Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, welcome back to the PAV. Still a little bit of ways from getting to play a match in here, which we're looking forward to a lot. But another trip down south to Texas to play two quality teams in TCU and Baylor. Yeah, pleased with the opening weekend. Certainly felt like we let one get away in that opening match, but learned some lessons fast and showed some character, some competitive character in our second match against Texas. Yeah, so it just has me excited to be here today with these guys and to head down and try and validate that performance with two more good ones this week.
Keegan, I know it's a marathon, not a sprint, so to say, but to
Yeah.
have such a big win early in the season. Statement win for you, just coming into year two?
not really a statement to each other, right? You know, you're trying to teach a team to believe in themselves and to believe before something happens. And we've been having that conversation for 6 or 8 months. And but you know, there's something that happens when you win. The belief becomes real. You can feel it. I think they felt it during Stanford. Was no longer trying to convince them of what they could do. They knew what they could do, and they showed it in that second match.
What do you have to do to refocus after a big win like that?
Yeah, right. A great practice, I think. You know, we got really good last year of following weak performances with good practices. You know, people wondered how we could respond from Stanford and play a good match the next day. But unfortunately, we had some practice with that last year. And now we have a different challenge, which is can you respond to a good performance with a great motivation? And I expect them to do that. But we'll talk about it. Again, it's a position we haven't been in, and it's a privilege to be in that position. And but we don't have a lot of time to think. We've got 5 matches in 8 days now. So you'll be seeing a lot of us, and we got to move quickly.
Each season kind of has its own life, but are you a believer over the course of your time that an early tone setter like this can lay the groundwork through the rest of the year?
Yeah, if you handle it right, it can. I've had some seasons where you have some good non-conference victories against opponents that you think will be there late in December. And again, you don't have to tell stories about the potential of your team. They just know. But there's a lot of work to be done. Week 1 is week 1. And as you're seeing around the country, things are happening. And what you do with that next 2, 3, 4 weeks is a big deal. So that's, you know, it's Wednesday. We're a day late if we want to talk about Texas. We're already on to the next, yeah.
Season rankings don't mean much, but it seemed like going into that first match versus Stanford,
Yeah.
pretty much told everybody, even with a loss, that hey, we're not 18th ranked or 5th in Big Ten. You know, I mean, you proved to everyone, even after a loss, that you guys were there before you beat Texas.
Yeah. Again, you want to be in those matches early on in the season. That was by design. You want to be in those kinds of buildings to find out for yourselves, you know, where you belong and the work you need to do. That's the best kind of feedback. And that was the idea of going there. And, yeah, I'm just glad we didn't miss the moment.
When you look at your offense, I mean, from the start, I think you talked about the balance that you needed to have.
Yeah.
Mckenna and Julia certainly in the first 2 matches. Could be Lydia, it could be others.
Yeah.
I guess talk about that balance that you have, and then even some of the middles were
Yeah.
pretty well.
We saw pieces of it. We saw everyone contribute in some way, just not enough of the variety. We had long stretches where we were too left side dependent on Julia and Mckenna. You saw little pieces of what the middles can do and what Lydia can do and what Mel can do when she's offensive, but you just need more of it now. So I think we've got those things in place. Can we get them in the right volume is going to be the challenge here over the next 3 weeks.
Your blocking has significantly improved compared to last season. That's a technique. It's also like a scout. What are you doing differently to approach your opponents?
Yeah, this group has been able to handle a little heavier scout than last year's group, probably because they've got a better understanding of language. There's some continuity there in year 1. I mean, a new scouting report is a new scouting report. New language is new language. So I thought we threw a pretty advanced scout at them for Texas, and I was impressed that they were able to hang on to it as well as they could. But, I mean, it helps when you've got Phoebe out there, Mel, players with significant experience. But just the balance of our blocking unit right now, there isn't really a weak point that you can go at, and then that's a big deal.
With Texas, as you said, being yesterday, so what's this weekend look like with Baylor and TCU?
Yeah, first thing that stands out with Baylor, besides being at home, you know, where they're pretty great, is just a dangerous serving team, right? And we saw what Stanford did, you know, with their serve, and so highly motivated to be ready for that. I expect them to serve well in their home gym. TCU, probably one of the best outside hitters in the country right now in Melani Para, and as well as some other contributors, and a team that's hungry. Both these teams are hungry to either establish or reestablish their position, you know, in volleyball. So, yeah, we quickly go from hunting to being the hunted pretty quick. Yeah.
You've seen the top 5 teams, 3 of them fall in the last 48 hours.
Yeah.
What does that say about the landscape that you're facing this year?
Yeah, I thought, been saying for a couple years that I thought parity was on its way. You know, that I could see with player movement and programs on the rise that things were going to start to spread out a little bit, and it certainly looks that way here, right? Where we're seeing great volleyball across the country. I expect that to continue for a few more years here. People are committing at a really high level, and it's getting harder and harder to separate yourself from the pack, is what it feels like.
Talk about that locker room after the match.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you probably celebrated like that a few times in
Yeah, first one actually, first water dousing. I didn't really know what was going on, if I'm being honest. I should have known, but yeah, a welcome feeling. I had extra clothes packed, which was a good plan. But yeah, I think just seeing their faces, sharing that moment with them. You know, you were here with us last year. You know, we got to that point a lot of times and let ourselves down. So to be on the other side of it finally was a good feeling.
Anything else for Keegan?
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.